A very good day, my dear children. Today is the second part of the topic Active and Passive Voice of Class 10 English Grammar Unit 1. In the previous part, we had already discussed about active and passive voice and its structure and the changes that are involved when we convert a sentence from active to passive and passive to active. We have also discussed the steps involved in changing a sentence from active to passive. We have also learned about the role of tense. Tense plays a very important role, I told you, in converting a sentence from active to passive. We had also discussed about all that. And we also learned about the different kinds of sentences and how a sentence should change when it is in the command or in the advice or in various categories. We learned about the different kinds of sentences and how we change it from active to passive. We have to now continue from interrogative sentences, and we also have to learn about omitting the agent. How do we omit an agent in a sentence when we learn active and passive voice? But before we could move into interrogatives and omitting the agent, we will have a short recap again about active and passive voice. So, are you ready? You can keep your books with you, your rough notebook or a pencil, so you can quickly jot down the answers and we can also check the answers. Stay tuned. Let's begin now. We first begin with the structure of active voice. We'll just have a short recap, a quick recap. Subject plus verb plus object. When you learn sentence pattern, your teachers would have taught you about SVO, subject, verb and object. Usually in the active voice, the sentence is in this pattern, subject, verb and object. For example, Hari won the prize. Hari is subject, won is the verb and object is the prize. We will analyze one more sentence in the active voice. Sona sang a song. Sona is the subject, sang is the verb and a song is the object. So let's see how the structure is in the passive voice. Structure of passive voice. Object plus be verb plus verb as past participle plus subject. In the previous part, I told you how the subject becomes the object and the object becomes the subject. So here the structure of passive voice is like this. Object plus be verb plus verb as past participle plus subject. Let's look at some examples. The prize was won by Hari. The prize is the object, was won is a verb, by a word which we have to include in the passive voice, and the subject Hari has come at the end now. A song was sung by Sona. So we see that the object has come in front and the subject has gone at the end. So this is a structure of passive voice. We will also have a short recap of kinds of sentences. Declarative sentence, imperative sentence, interrogative sentence and exclamatory sentence. We are now straight away moving into the interrogative sentence because we have already discussed imperative sentence in the previous part. An interrogative sentence asks a question. It ends with a question mark. An exclamatory sentence expresses happiness, anger, fear, disgust and shock. It ends with an exclamation mark. Request. We had discussed request already. So how does a sentence which is a request gets converted into the passive form? That is what we discussed earlier. Let's just have a look at it once more. A request begins with please. When we change a request from active to passive, we should begin the sentence with you are requested to. For example, please assemble in the ground. It is in the active voice. When we change it in the passive, you are requested to assemble in the ground. So we add a group of words. You are requested is added in the passive voice. Advice, go for a jog early in the morning in the active voice, and in the passive, you are advised to go for a jog early in the morning. Work hard is in the active voice. You are advised to work hard. I hope you remember all these sentences that we discussed earlier. do not eat junk food, and in the passive voice, it becomes you are advised not to eat junk food. Passive voice of imperative sentences, that is command. Open the door. The sentence is in the active voice. Let the door be opened. It is now converted into the passive voice. Complete the work is in the active voice. When you change it into the passive, it becomes let the work be completed. Turn off the television. It changes into let the television be turned off. And now the most important topic. Now we will focus on interrogative sentences. So you can read the sentence together with me. Is she writing a letter? The question is she writing a letter? You very well know that interrogatives means asking a question to someone. Is she writing a letter? Is a letter being written by her? So the first sentence, that is she writing a letter, is in the active voice. So when you change it into the passive, it becomes is a letter being written by her? So being written is a verb. I told you in the previous part that the verb plays a very important role when you convert a sentence from the active to the passive. Now let's analyze some of the questions, that is the WH questions. What are the WH questions? Where, 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 WHEN, when, WHO, who. Now all these questions are WH questions. So together with the WH questions, we also have some more questions added, and let's see how it changes when we change it from the active to the passive voice. Are you ready with me? Why were you cheating me? It's in the active voice. Why was I being cheated by you? Why was I being cheated by you it's in the passive voice. Third sentence, I want you to guess. What do you want? You can write down the answer and check if your answers are right. In the passive voice, it becomes what is wanted by you? What is wanted by you? Fourth sentence, have you helped him? Have you helped him? You should not drop the H's. When there are words beginning with H, you have to be very careful when you read it. Have you helped him? Has he been helped by you? So been helped. You have to be very careful about the verb that you change here from active to passive. Has he been helped by you? The fifth sentence, which is in the active voice. Did he write a letter? Did he write a letter? Check your answers now. Was a letter written by him? Is he watching us? The sentence is in the active voice. Is he watching us? Are we being watched by him? Are we being watched by him? So when you have the word by, I told you it is very easy for you to guess that the sentence is in the passive voice. Who will accept this? By whom will this be accepted? Never forget to add the question mark at the end, because the question mark clearly tells us that the sentence is in the question form. So never forget to add the question even when you change it from the active to passive or passive to active. Remember to add the question mark. Who has arranged this meeting? By whom has this meeting been arranged? So note the changes in all these four sentences that you see in front of you, and how the sentence, when changed from active to passive, how the subject and the object changes, and also how that by is added in the passive voice, and also the question mark that you need to add in the passive voice. We'll move into the next set of sentences. How did they do this? How did they do this? How was this done by them? How was this done by them? The meaning should not change. This is also another reminder I am giving you. We discussed all this in detail in the first chapter that I taught you. So make sure the meaning does not change when you change a sentence from active to passive or even from passive to active. When did you write the letter? When did you write the letter? When was the letter written by you? When was the letter written by you? Again, when did you write the letter? When was the letter written by you? Do you love him? Do you love him? I think I can give you a few seconds time for you to think the right answer, or you can even write the answer and check if your answer is right. Do you love him? The sentence is in the active voice. Now let's see what the answer is in the passive voice. Is he loved by you? Is he loved by you? If you've got it right, put a tick against your answer. Did he break the window? Did he break the window? Was the window broken by him? So break, the verb break has turned into broken in the passive voice. Was the window broken by him? Have you taught the boy? Have you taught the boy? The sentence is in the active voice. You can write out your answers quickly. Has the boy been taught by you? Has the boy been taught by you? Where will you spend your holidays? The answer, where will your holidays be spent? How will you cross the river? And the answer, in the passive voice, how will the river be crossed by you? The next sentence, have you helped him? Has he been helped by you? And the next one, will you teach me? Will I be taught by you? Will I be taught by you? Can you speak English? The sentence is in the active voice. Can English be spoken by you? Do you like this shirt? Do you like this shirt? Is this shirt liked by you? So very often we do speak in English and we use these sentences. So those sentences are in the active voice. You would have asked many people, do you like this dress? Do you like this shirt? So the sentence that you would have used, it is in the active voice. So when you change it into the passive voice, it becomes, is this shirt liked by you? Is the girl reading a storybook? Is the girl reading a storybook? Your answer? Is a storybook being read by the girl? Is a storybook being read by the girl? So here we see that the subject girl has become the object in the passive voice, and the object storybook has become the subject in the passive voice. You can see that change, and the verb reading has become being read. So when you look at each of these sentences that are displayed before you, analyze the sentence, do pick out the subject, the verb and the object. Note the differences made in the active voice and in the passive voice. Did the man buy the share? Did the man buy the share? The man is the subject, buy is the verb, share is the object. Now let's see how it's interchanged in the passive voice without changing the meaning. Was the share bought by the man? Was the share bought by the man? So I hope interrogative sentences were clear for you. Do go through all the sentences to understand that topic better. Now we are moving into omitting the agent. Who is an agent? I told you in the previous class. Who is an agent? Agent is the doer of the action. I told you for the subject, we can call the subject in three forms. Subject is the doer of the action. Okay, the subject can also be called as the one who performs the action or the one who is doing the verb in the sentence. So we call them as the subject or the doer of the action or also the agent. So there are three ways in which you can call the subject. So how do we omit the agent, or when should we omit the agent? That is what we are going to learn in this second part of the class. So I want all your attention. Try thinking the answers even before you could see the answer displayed. So that way you will learn it better. Omitting means leaving out. The word omit means to leave out. So when do we leave out the agent? That is what we are going to learn now. Sentences beginning with someone, somebody and no one. So when you see a sentence beginning with someone or somebody or no one, you can omit the agent. We will look at some examples So you will understand the topic better. When you learn grammar, we learn it better when we analyze it with a lot of sentences. That is why I have showed you a lot of sentences, because the one best way to learn grammar is by learning with a lot of examples and exercises. Example, somebody has taken away my book. Somebody has taken away my book. So here the agent is not mentioned very clearly. If it was given as Priya has taken away my book or Ram has taken away my book, we know who the subject is. But in the case of this sentence, it is not mentioned clearly. Somebody has taken away the book. The sentence is in the active voice. Now how do we change it in the passive voice? Let's see. My book has been taken away. My book has been taken away. Or in other words, you can even put it this way, okay? My book has been taken away by somebody. My book has been taken away by somebody. But we feel that that somebody is not needed. So we have omitted the agent. Okay, so I hope you're able to follow this. Somebody is not needed. The word somebody is not needed in the passive voice. Okay, because in the passive voice, the sentence is clear for us. My book has been taken away. It is understood that the book has been taken away by somebody. So we need not mention that word there. That is the reason we have omitted or left out the word somebody. Is it clear to you? Somebody has taken away my book. It's in the active voice. And in the passive voice, my book has been taken away by somebody is left out, omitted. Okay, so that is called omitting the agent. Now let's look at some more examples to understand this topic better. How did they do this? How did they do this? How was this done by them? How was this done by them? So is it necessary for us to mention by them there? Not needed. The agent can be omitted. You can simply say, how was this done? So how did they do this in the active voice? And in the passive voice, how was this done? Question mark, that will do. You can omit the agent by them. It's not needed. Even if you write, the answer is not wrong, children. So even if you write how was this done by them, your answer will not be wrong. But it shows a little bit of refinement in the topic if you follow this. Nobody should violate the rules. Nobody should violate the rules. The rules should not be violated. The rules should not be violated. The meaning is the same. Okay. What about the word nobody? Have you omitted it or not? Yes, we have omitted the word nobody. Nobody should violate the rules. The rules should not be violated by anybody or nobody. You need not add all that. It can be omitted and it is omitted. Someone has to initiate immediately. Someone has to initiate immediately. I already told you for omitting the agent, when you have a sentence beginning with someone, somebody, nobody, you can omit all those words in the passive voice, okay? Have you guessed the answer? Let's check. It has to be initiated immediately. It has to be initiated immediately by someone. It's understood. It goes without saying that it has to be initiated by someone. But we need not mention it in the sentence when we change it from active to passive voice. Is it clear to you? Some more of sentences, and I want your participation here, okay? So I want you to really involve yourself for the next set of sentences. Try writing the answers or even think the answer, so your learning will be complete. No one is borrowing the novels from the library. No one is borrowing the novels from the library. The novels are not being borrowed from the library. The novels are not being borrowed from the library. Someone has burgled Anne's house. Someone has burgled Anne's house. So which is the subject here? Which is the object? And which is the verb? By now I think you should be able to tell me or identify the subject, verb and object. In the passive voice, Anne's house has been burgled. Anne's house has been burgled by someone. Yes or no? The meaning is Anne's house has been burgled by someone, but we have omitted the agent. Someone has stolen Mike's bike. Someone has stolen Mike's bike. So subject, verb, object, identify. So when we change it to the passive voice, Mike's bike has been stolen by someone is omitted. Mike's bike has been stolen is the answer. She offered me a cup of tea. She offered me a cup of tea. So in this case, if it is mentioned in the question saying you can omit the agent, you can omit the agent. She offered me a cup of tea. The sentence is in the active voice, and in the passive voice, if you are asked to omit the agent, this is how you have to change it. A cup of tea was offered to me. A cup of tea was offered to me by her is omitted. Okay, so it goes without saying that it was offered by her. Sometimes in the question it will be mentioned if you need to exclude the agent or include the agent. So you have to read your questions very carefully. Not only for English, any subject, make sure you read the questions clearly and then you attempt writing the answers. Sometimes what we do is, as soon as we see the first word, we take it for granted and we connect it with what we learnt earlier and we try to do the answers. Never do that. When you get the question paper, clearly read the questions and do what is asked in the question paper. They look after the children in the hostel. They look after the children in the hostel. So when you get a sentence, what is the first thing you need to do? Identify the subject, the verb and the object. Okay, and then you need to identify if the sentence is in the active voice or in the passive voice. So that is the second step. You need to identify it that way. And then if you are asked to change the sentence from the active to the passive, do it accordingly. Or from passive to active, do it accordingly. But when you get a sentence, first identify what voice it is in with the help of subject, verb and object. So how do you change this? The children are looked after in the hostel. The children are looked after in the hostel. By them is omitted. You need not mention by them. She does her work patiently. She does her work patiently. Her work is done patiently. Her work is done patiently. They attended the performance. Subject, verb, object. Identify. Which voice is it in? Identify. The performance was attended. We need not say the performance was attended by them. We need not. We have omitted the agent here. Okay. The performance was attended. Okay. So I hope these examples have given you a clear picture of omitting the agent and interrogative sentences. Now, a quiz. You can take it as a quiz. Shall we begin our quiz? Rewrite these questions in their passive form. So by now you should become an expert, okay? Did the audience appreciate the story? Was the story appreciated by the audience? Have you completed the work? You think of the answer. Has the work been completed by you? Are you searching for the ring? Is the ring being searched by you? Were you ironing your clothes? Were the clothes being ironed by you? Will you make all the arrangements? Will all the arrangements be made by you? When did you cast your vote? When was the vote casted by you? Where did you discover the lost property? Where was the lost property discovered by you? Where have you kept the lock and key? Where has the lock and key been kept by you? When had you distributed the sheets? When had the sheets been distributed by you? Are you looking for this book? Is this book being looked by you? Now, the next set of sentences. Okay, are you ready? Rewrite the sentences in the active voice by introducing suitable agents. So this exercise is quite challenging. Let's see how well you're able to do it. The letters were delivered. Who delivers the letters? The postman delivered the letters. So we are introducing the agent, okay? There has been no milk supply. The milkman has not supplied any milk. The clothes are being stitched. The tailors are stitching the clothes. The tea leaves will be plucked. The gardener will pluck the tea leaves. The sisters baked a cake. A cake was baked by the sisters. The monitor was appointed by the class teacher. The class teacher appointed the monitor. So I hope the topic was clear to you. In the next part, I will be discussing with you about the textual exercises. We will meet again, okay, in part 3 of the topic active and passive voice, and we will discuss about the textual exercises. So keep your textbooks of class 10 ready. Thank you, children. Have a nice day.